All right, let's just jump right in. Welcome to today's Executive Explainer, designed specifically for managed service providers, system integrators, and technology leaders. Today, we're tackling what is arguably one of the most pressing operational hurdles in the modern tech landscape. We are talking about how to effectively scale your client delivery and take on those massive, complex software projects by leveraging strategic engineering partnerships. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the delivery capability gap, move into the strategic partnership model, explore scalable engineering capabilities, discuss industry-specific delivery expertise, highlight realizing business benefits, and finally wrap up with enabling long-term growth. So I really want to start by posing a pretty stark question to you. How exactly do you scale delivery without scaling your headcount? Because let's be real, this is the core operational challenge right now. Clients who maybe a few years ago just needed basic infrastructure support or simple cloud management, well, today they're expecting full-blown mobile applications, complex AI integrations, and massive enterprise platforms. The opportunity is absolutely there, no doubt about it. But trying to build out a huge internal engineering team overnight to meet that demand, that is incredibly risky and wildly expensive.
That brings us right to Section 1, the delivery capability gap. You know, channel partners typically hit a wall with 5 specific scaling constraints. First up, we have capability gaps. Your clients want custom software, but maybe your internal team really specializes in advisory or infrastructure. Second, if you do try to just hire your way out of it, that headcount expansion creates massive fixed costs well before your project demand is even predictable. Third, deep domain expertise is just incredibly difficult to build in-house from scratch. Fourth, because of these gaps, your proposal competitiveness inevitably drops when you're up against specialized firms. And finally, without that core software delivery capability, your revenue growth eventually just hits a ceiling.
Moving right along to Section 2, the strategic partnership model.
We really need to draw a sharp line in the sand here. Traditional staffing or transactional outsourcing, it often fails because it's so vendor-centric. Think about it. Half the time, the vendor might actually end up competing with you for the client relationship. A strategic engineering partnership, on the other hand, is a completely different beast. It's a collaborative ecosystem. It acts as an invisible extension of your own internal team. So you get to scale flexibly, but you absolutely retain total ownership of the client strategy.
Now, to actually make this partnership work, Mobisoft brings 3 distinct operational models to the table, depending on what your specific business goals are. Say you're a technology advisor and you want minimal delivery involvement, while the referral model lets you monetize those opportunities safely. But if you're a system integrator managing complex enterprise rollouts, the co-delivery model gives you that moderate involvement. You own the strategy, and Mobisoft handles the engineering heavy lifting. And finally, if you want complete brand ownership to sell these services directly, the white label model gives you an invisible, highly scalable engineering team working entirely behind the scenes. But hey, partnerships only succeed when the processes are rock solid and predictable. This is the exact workflow that makes it happen. It's a seamless progression from identifying the initial opportunity straight into a rapid preliminary assessment to make sure it's actually a good fit. From there, it moves into deep discovery and evaluation to nail down the true scope, and finally into joint proposal development. Having this operational clarity means your clients experience a perfectly smooth professional process every single time. Okay. Let's shift gears to Section 3, scalable engineering capabilities. So what are the actual structural pillars that solve real-world business challenges? Here is the robust suite of engineering capabilities that you can tap into on demand. Instead of just seeing this as a menu of services, I want you to think about how these map directly to your biggest bottlenecks. Say a client's outdated legacy system is completely stalling their digital transformation. Well, boom, you suddenly have an expert team ready for legacy application modernization. When they're asking for cutting-edge predictive workflows, you instantly have access to AI and automation initiatives. You are fundamentally expanding your entire service portfolio, but without taking on the operational nightmare. If you take absolutely nothing else away from this, remember this point. Expand your engineering capacity without expanding your fixed overhead. This is literally the bottom line business benefit. You get every ounce of technical capability required to win those modern enterprise contracts. And you do it completely free of the utilization risks and the massive recruitment expenses of building out an in-house team. It's a total game changer. But we all know that winning those high-stakes contracts requires serious trust. And enterprise buyers today, they want more than just theoretical case studies. Describing your capabilities using a bunch of buzzwords simply doesn't cut it anymore. You have to actually demonstrate them. That is exactly why Mobisoft provides access to their live enterprise platform, Hop to Work.
You can literally walk your prospects through real offline-first mobile architecture, live, incredibly powerful AI-driven workflows, and real enterprise-grade authentication. Seeing a living, breathing product perform in reality is going to win enterprise trust so much faster than any theoretical slide deck ever could.
Which leads us to Section 4, Industry-Specific Delivery Expertise. Because let's face it, generic coding skills do not win complex, highly regulated enterprise contracts. If you are pitching to a healthcare client, your proposal absolutely must demonstrate deep, practical knowledge of HIPAA and FHIR integrations. Working in logistics, if you don't inherently understand offline-first architecture and FMCSA compliance, you are just not going to win that bid. Having a partner with incredibly diverse, proven industry expertise lets you adapt to these incredibly strict client requirements on the fly, and that vastly improves your proposal's competitiveness. Moving into Section 5, Realizing Business Benefits. When you actually adopt this extended delivery model, the financial and operational returns compound remarkably fast. You get significantly accelerated project delivery simply because the team is already vetted and set to deploy. You achieve improved resource utilization and truly predictable scaling because your engineering resources scale up or down exactly in step with your project demand. And you maintain enhanced software quality through that specialized expertise, all while severely reducing your day-to-day operational overhead. Let's talk about the revenue economics for a second. A single custom software engagement, it is almost never just a one-off transaction. It acts as a massive multiplier. That very first software project basically kicks open the door to multiple ongoing recurring revenue streams. We're talking cloud hosting, security monitoring, ongoing feature enhancements, and long-term consulting retainers. You are radically maximizing the lifetime value of that client account simply because you finally had the capability to confidently say yes to that first complex project. All right, final stretch here. Section 6, Enabling Long-Term Growth. Speed wins deals, period. 48 hours. That is exactly how fast Mobisoft turns around preliminary technical scoping for qualified opportunities. When your client comes to you asking for a complex solution, you aren't leaving them hanging for weeks while you try to figure it out. You come back to the table in 48 hours with high-level architecture recommendations and solid effort estimates. This empowers you to respond faster, estimate way more accurately, and most importantly, maintain that absolutely vital sales momentum. And you know, that 48-hour scoping is really just one piece of a much larger support infrastructure. Mobisoft is doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes. You get domain-specific proposal resources, so your bids sound like they were written by tenured industry veterans. You get top-tier sales enablement materials, access to those live demonstration environments we talked about earlier, and rapid technical Q&A support. They aren't just building software, they're actively helping you compete and win those complex enterprise bids. I really want to leave you with this one defining thought from the briefing. The client relationship, strategic guidance, and commercial relationship remain yours. Meanwhile, delivery capability expands through a trusted strategic technology partner. That is the absolute core executive value proposition here. You preserve what matters most, your client's trust and your strategic relationship, while completely removing your internal capability ceiling. Which brings us to our final question for today. Are you ready to bridge that capability chasm and become a more complete technology solutions provider? Client expectations, they're only going to keep growing. You don't just need more resources, you need a trusted strategic engineering partnership. I highly encourage you to dive into the full Mobisoft blog for a much deeper look into these implementation strategies. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and here is to scaling your delivery to incredible new heights.